how proud I am of all of you and how you've been learning, and of the marvelous staff of Rebbeim that we have, and how they've been inspiring, the job they've been doing, and the whole Ruach is Hafla Fella. The truth of the matter is, it may well be that this is part of what's happening here. The Baruch Hashem is testing us to see what type of people we really are. In this week's Sedra, Bechukosai, we find a list of terrible calamities coming upon the Jewish people. And then the Pasuk says, and then it starts a new theme, because the Pasuk starts to use the word carry. And telchi imi carry, and if after these calamities you'll go with me, carry. Shmuel, you will not be willing to listen to me. I'm going to increase your makas many times. Carry is translated by the Targum as kashi, with hardness. You're going to remain hard, tough. Ibn Ezra quotes the Targum, quotes his pshat, and then he goes on to be Yeshiva. There's another pshat. He says the other pshat is carried from Lashon Mikra. You're going to say it was an accident. Not that it came by accident, but the thing is, Mikra is not min hashamayim. If so, it's going to happen to you many times worse. Which means the Rebbe wants us to recognize when he does something, that we should recognize our job is to recognize that it's his hand. The first yesod is to recognize that it's his hand. And since the recognition is itself an avoid of the person, so very often the thing is disguised in such a way that the person has to reach for the recognition. For example, in Mitzrayim was a land of witchcraft. And there were Khartoumim in Mitzrayim who did deeds of witchcraft. This is machlokes whether the witchcraft was real or whether it was fake. But for generations it had been practiced in Mitzrayim. And the question on Moshe was, what are you bringing witchcraft to Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim is a country of witchcraft. We're pros at it. Why was Mitzrayim a land of witchcraft? Mitzrayim had other projects. It built pyramids. He conquered other nations. What were they into witchcraft for? We don't think about that. But strangely enough, that after Moshe Rabbeinu came and started to make the makkahs and the oisais and the moifsim, so Mitzrayim said, it's witchcraft. Until finally they admitted in the middle of the 10 makkahs that Etzvel Kimi, it's a brush to his finger. Which means there comes a point where we finally understand about witchcraft. So why was it witchcraft first? To test the people whether they would finally understand to see beyond the witchcraft. And to recognize the Yad Hashem. So first they had the witchcraft to prepare them for the nisayon of denying the Yad Hashem. And then finally, they were forced to recognize it. And Klal Yisrael was part of Mitzrayim. And Klal Yisrael's job was to recognize Yad Hashem. So over here it says, if you'll go with me, the Ibn Ezra says, Pshat Mikra, that it's an accident. It happened to happen that way. In Wuhan, a virus escaped. If that's the way you look at it, you don't understand what it's about. If you think that science is going to cure it, and they're going to find something, they will find. But not because they will find. Because their Baruch wants the makkah to finally go away. Because all makkahs finally go away. Not because they run out of energy, not because the Baruch gets tired of giving it. They go away because that's the way Big Mechanech us. First, the makkah comes to say something to us. The Yad Hashem is angry at you. Then he goes away to see, did you understand what I told you? Now you understand? Is there a change? Is there a deeper appreciation? That's how we see how the Torah works that we're going to read. This will come, and that will come, and this will come. And if you'll say Mikrahu is a series of accidents, so then I'm going to pile on more. So it means there's a break in between. You've got bad luck. That's how this happened. It's just a bunch of bad luck. First this happens, and half happens. So Baruch says, if that's the way you look at it, you don't recognize it, I'm going to make it worse. But there's a break in between, which means that he does stop. He does stop to let you think, well, what is going on here? Why does he let you stop? Why does he stop to let you think? Because your job, when the thing happens, is to see past your foolish view of it, the depth that is through the depths to see this Yad Hashem, through the witchcraft to see this Yad Hashem, through the science to see this Yad Hashem, through the mikra to see this Yad Hashem. That's the purpose of it. What do we see? What does we see in this Yad Hashem? We see something that we just run past every morning, 3 times a day rather, when we daven. We just zip past it. In Shemitah Year we say, what is Gomel Chasodim Tovim V'Koni HaKol? He does murder chasodim for people. Not just chasodim as we recognize them, but the chasodim tovim. They're good chasodim. Not every chesed is good for a person. For care, many of the things that the person would think is duma chesed me is not good for the person. Sometimes the baruch is doing a shidduch, and the young lady decides she doesn't want to marry him or continue with him. It breaks his heart. He says, do for me. I want so much. You're Baal Chesed. Give it to me. Let me have the shidduch. Do it. And the Baruch Shalom doesn't do it. And he breaks his heart. And he walks around depressed. Depressed. And finally he recuperates enough, he marries somebody else. And then he finds out that shortly after he got married and this first shidduch was over, Meshudechas developed cancer and died. I'm not telling you, I'm telling you stories that happened, a story that happened. And he thinks to himself that the Rebbeinu Shalom saved him from such a tragedy in his life by not doing this chesed for him. He does only chasadim tovim. He doesn't do just am chasadim. He does chasadim tovim. Perfect chasadim. The yeshiva was first located many years ago in what today is the White Shul parking lot on Virginia Street. And somebody brought a case against us, and we were in court, and we didn't have money to pay the lawyers. And we fought so hard, with such koiches, to win the case and to stay there. We tried all kinds of things. And my heart was broken about it. And we had invested so much in the property. And we were not a rich yeshiva. Everything was borrowed and owed. You can't imagine a time of suffering. And the court decisions came down negative against us, the first court decision. Unbelievable. And then we appealed it with great, great difficulty. I remember that just printing up the pages, just printing up the appeal cost, I think, $7,000. Those days was a fortune of money. We didn't have the $7,000. And then that decision came down against us. It was unbearable. And the judge, the lower court judge, it went back to him and he said, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't get out. And then something opened up, a property on Hicksville Road. And this property is unbelievably better than the other one. And not only that, but it's 200 steps from my front door to the door of the yeshiva, 200 steps. And as I've gotten older, and my legs have gotten less athletic, let's say, it makes a big difference that it's 200 steps instead of a 15-minute walk. The Russian does chasadim toivim. Only if it's good for you, he does it. At the same time, there's chasadim toivim. He's koine hakoil. He holds everything. He doesn't take it. He holds on to it. He's koine it. At the same time, it's goyim chasadim toivim that he gives you, but he holds it. What do you mean he holds it? He gives you life. Life is not for keeps. It's for lens. He gives you children. Children get sick, cholila. He gives you money. You invest in the wrong stock. He's koine hakoil. You must never forget when he's goyim chasadim toivim that he only gives you what's good for you, but at the same time, when he does give you, he's still holding on to it. Everything he gives you is for lens. Your life is for lens. Your success is for lens. Everything you have is for lens. And we look at the society around us. Can you believe? I don't know if you young people have an idea of what has happened to this country. This country was the ultimate of power, of money in every area. There has never been a more powerful country in the world. And without having to subjugate the other world, the rest of the world, with its troops, it had the strings to everything. The financial strings. Iran is preparing nuclear weapons to use against the world. And the United States is strangling them. The UN wants us to be supportive of the Chveis. The United States says no, and it strangles the UN. And this country has been brought to its knees. This proud, powerful country, proud of itself, and proud of its democracy and its shitas, has been brought to its knees. The reason, I don't know. But I know one thing that's very important. We have to see that he's Kohen HaKoil. That is our job to see, that it's not a mikra, that he's Kohen HaKoil, that everything is his. He says no is no. We say in Shir Malzmi al-Makim, there's a line that we say to the Baruch Shalom, Ki imcho haslicha l'man tivorei. You are forgiving in order that you should be feared. What does that mean, in order that you should be feared? You forgive in order to be feared? Yes. Because Yiras Shamayim is one of the things that Baruch Shalom wants from us. He wants us to recognize and by ourselves reach past the witchcraft and the science and the mikra of a wandering virus and see the Yad Hashem, and therefore to be afraid of him. So we say to Rabbi Shalom, forgive us now because we've learned our lesson. And you forgive us because the tachlis of everything is Yiras Shamayim. That we shouldn't think it's witchcraft or science or accident. Tachlis, we should know is from you everything. That you're Kohen HaKoil. It's all yours that you hold on to. You can take it back when you want. So forgive us, so that after you forgive us, we will have Yiras Shamayim from what happened to us. And the whole purpose is Yiras Shamayim. So don't destroy us in our chet. Let us live so that now we can have Yiras Shamayim, which is the purpose, is Yiras Shamayim. You forgive, man tivorei. So you should be feared. How is a person to survive in this matzav? In the matzav of collapse. It will end. And things will get probably a lot better, although never the way it was. It will take the country many years to recoup financially because they've been paying out money that they don't have. They can only print. And that means that the future is going to suffer very badly from what they're giving out in the present. Because nobody's going to give them the money. The future generations will just not be in a position that we were. Okay. But we are now here. And our job is to recognize his hand. But how do we inside ourselves survive in this case of doubt? So your kids, most of you, and you don't realize even to what extent you are relying on the protection of your parents. And your parents have taken care of you till today. You don't even think about it. take it for granted that they'll continue to take care of you. But my parents are not alive. They don't take care of me. And parents don't have money for tuition. And they go to the yeshiva almost every day. I lost my job. And people don't have money for donations to compensate. How will the yeshiva continue? How will I continue? I don't have parents that take care of me. And in a deeper sense, when you think about it's going to that even your parents can't be a guarantee. Those who said they'll have their jobs. And who said that society is going to be able to continue the way it is, and there should be jobs for everybody. Who says anything? There's somebody who needs an operation. And he can't get the operation because they don't allow anything that's not an emergency. So he's walking around in a lot of pain. He can't have the operation. So he went for prep once for the operation. He had went through the whole procedure. Then they said, well, a couple of weeks from now, he had to do the procedure again. He got all the prep, and they said, no, we can't do it yet. They don't allow such operations yet. And the hospitals are empty. And the surgeon told him, I've lost a fortune of money. I haven't been able to work for months. And the hospitals have lost millions of dollars because the government does not allow us to operate. They've lost millions, and I've lost everything. And what about the storekeeper? What about the businessman? What about the guy in real estate? Are his investments in real estate going to be worth the same as they were before? Are houses in Far Rockaway that were selling for almost $1 million, is that the price they're going to have after this is over? $1 million houses? Are they? And the guy who took out a mortgage for $1 million house, and it's stuck that he has to pay it over 30 years, and the house might be worth $150,000 instead of $1 million, or $100,000 instead of $1 million. And he has to pay a mortgage on a job and lose everything that he put into it. Maybe. We don't know. So how's a person supposed to survive in this situation? So the first part of the Sefer in Beharr, the first part of the Kriya today, in Beharr, says something very important. He says, the Baruch says to us, every 70 years, we should make a Shemitah. So you must leave the field, your fields, not plant them, not harvest them. Whatever grows by itself, till a certain amount of time, you can eat it. Once a certain time passes, and it's not available for wild animals in the field, you have to take it out and be mad for it. I remember when the United States was selling wheat to the rest of the world. So they sold 20 million bushels of wheat to Europe or to Russia, I don't remember which. And the price of bread skyrocketed in the United States. Do you know how much wheat is harvested in August in the United States? It's told 20 million bushels. How much wheat is harvested in the United States in August? I will tell you, 400 million bushels of wheat are harvested. 400 million bushels of wheat are harvested every August in this country. And that's what the government paying to farmers not to plant. They don't want too much because it drives down the price. So they pay the farmers not to plant. They allow very tightly controlled planting, and they harvest 400 million bushels. And 20 million they sold to Europe. And the price went through the sky of a piece of bread. Now, can you imagine what would happen if the 400 million bushels would not be there? Beside the price, what would we eat? What would the animals eat? Can you imagine what a disaster it is for a country to not plant for 1 year? Such a rule of not planting for 1 year can only be given either if you hate the country, you want to destroy them, or if you're the British law. And why would the British want to do it? Because they want us to teach them trust in me. Trust in me. Trust me. You will wonder what will you eat in the seventh year. Trust me. You will have. Trust me. You will have. I will provide for you. Trust me. The British our hands are shaking at the thought. The British, you know that in the United States, a small percentage of the population, something like 2% or something, raises the food for the whole country. But where we're living in Eretz Yisrael, in the old days, 90% of the people are farmers because the yield is very small. So therefore we say don't plant. We're going to starve to death. Starve to death, everybody should go. The little children going in the street, emaciated bodies, asking, a little piece of bread, a little piece of bread. And in the morning, the starving people will go with carts and pick up the bodies of the children and the adults who died and take them out of town to put them into mass graves. That's the mystery giving us. But Hashem says, trust in me. Trust me. It's in order for you to trust me. And we very rarely have an opportunity to trust him in our times. In America, there's no Shemitah. In America, there's a lot of money. In America is a big success. Speaking English is the best language to speak in the world. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy. It's great. Amber waves of grain, purple mountains majesties across the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee and bless thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. That's what America is. We don't. And we have science. We have America. So we got a problem that happened to happen. We're going to miss the point if we don't understand it. America is a dream. He can be brought to his knees in such a rapid, such a small time, short time, it's brought to its knees. It's a dream. And your job is to recognize that. Your job is to recognize that the Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world. He owns America. He owns everything. And you should be afraid of him. Have your shemayim. And don't sin. And do mitzvahs. But first recognize. First recognize what it is. Yad Hashem. Disguised. Don't you know that they practiced hundreds of years of witchcraft in Egypt in order to be able to deny that there was a Ma'ifus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu? There was no reason for them to have witchcraft and to be the experts in it, except to test when we recognize we still think is witchcraft. There's no reason for our having such a profound scientific establishment, except to test. Do you recognize that if they find that it's for them? And you want to know some Rabbi say, there are a lot of goyim that are coming to recognize Yad Hashem. And a lot of Yidden was a bigger chiddush. They recognize it. The discussion, open up the churches, they should go in and should pray. Maybe the time you go. Says that we're davening, he says. We're working on science and we're davening, and we need both. Wait, sorry. We found this Parshas Beharr. That person went out and he became the Makalo. Because I'll argue or discuss how possibly a person should be a Makalo. So hate. Cover Yochel to be able to publicly be Makalo. What happened to him? And it doesn't say in the Torah anything what happened to him. But it says that it says Vayetze. Vayetze, Ben Israelis, he went out. What did he mean went out? Because I look at that word immediately and see in a sense there's some clue there. Did he go out of his tent? Everybody goes out of the tent. Maybe he went out from where it was and then he went out. So they look around in the looking for clues and they find that the word before Vayetze is Olam. And we darshan, Rabbi Levi, darshan Smuchais. Does he know why it says Olam and then Vayetze? To say it was Yotzim Eilomai. He went out of his world. What does that mean, he went out of his world? He went out of his world, and that's how this happened. When he went out of his world. Well, Rabbi say, in this situation, we've gone out of our world. You know, in 1929, when this happened, there was no air conditioning. And the high rises in Manhattan had to have open windows. And you know what happened? They jumped out of the windows to commit suicide because the market crashed. But today, the windows don't open because everything's air conditioned. So all those offices are standing empty. And all the trains are empty. Somebody yesterday described that he went through an airport And he was astonished that it's empty. Empty. He went onto a plane. There were 1 or 2 passengers on a plane that was 300. Empty. Where is everybody? Hiding. We've gone out of our world. We're out of the world that we're used to. We're out of the world of our comfort. And at such a time, we have to hold on with both hands to the world that we have, that we can take with us, the portable world of the Gemara, of the shiur. We can't even take the Gemara off the shelf in the base medrash, Rabbi Yechiel. I don't have to tell you. We're out in the streets someplace, or in our house, even better. We're not in the world anymore. I grew up, my world is the yeshiva. This yeshiva I went to before, the yeshiva before that. That's the world. We're out of the world. At such a time, we have to hold on with both hands, without kaiches, to what we take with us from that world, and the Yeshiva will bring us back to that world. What does it say in the Zevni? Gomer chasodim tovim, perfect chasodim, v'koni hakol, and he holds on to everything. It's only for lens, and after that, once that's recognized, maybe goyel v'nei v'neihem l'man shemoi v'ahavo. Once there's been goyel chasodim tovim, and then you recognize that it's going that, and there was such chasadim in this country, tremendous wealth, and it was koine hakoil. He took it back. The neighbors should help. It should be gomel chasadim tovim koine hakoil. But zoyver chazdei ofais. Maybe goel of neigham. Man shemoi. Ahavo, which means to recognize what we're looking at and to be kind of inside ourselves. And the Eibusha will bring the oil of Nev Nehem, the glory of Omer.
Amen.